The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning this morning. Welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. It's Friday the 27th of December, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene. I got a guest in studio with me this morning, Mr. Stanley Mitchell. It's a sports Friday. It's the end of the year. So we're talking sports, but we also talking Junkanoo. And since the 23rd of December is Christmas Adam, the 24th of December is Christmas Eve, the 25th is Christmas Day, the 26th is Boxing Day, and the Roots had a car on Rawson Square, like today must be Rowan Day, because a car as a part of your group's presentation for Junkanoo, it might as well have been a boat so you could sail straight to Brazil. Cut out all the long talk, all the long walk, all of that foolishness. We might as well go straight to Brazil Carnival. The Saxon superstars were absolutely fabulous. The way that they put those reflective trinkets and feathers and rhinestone, like each costume looked like it was glowing, like it had a halo around it. I mean, it was the most beautiful thing I've seen in a long time. But it looked just like Carnival. I saw somebody today talking about they need a new category. The Saxons ain't no A category, they in a S category. You put them in a C category for Carnival. Mind you, the Saxons looked great. I mean, it was just mesmerizing. But it also looked just like Brazil Carnival. And so, Mr. Mitchell didn't come here this morning to talk Junkanoo with me, but he have a look on his face that suggests that he gonna learn me something today. And that's good because I can't row with my uncle. So I love it. You know what a good protocol officer does? The protocol officers I know, when I come into a room in like an official space or a semi-official space because there are official people in it, the first thing the protocol officers, how are you? They're very, very well trained. How are you? The second thing they say is, how is your mother? They establish protocol. Because when I hear how is your mother, that mean ain't no rowing in here today. That mean you may want talk, but you ain't talking talk right now. I love when they do that because they tell me what to expect. They curate the space and let me know what is expected of me in it. I like reminders like that. What I didn't expect to see was a car on Bay Street Ain't no protocol officer could have prepared me for that. In fact, I thought that the part of the protocol was ain't no car on Bay Street. How many points you get penalized for having a car on Bay Street in the parade? How many points are you penalized for a motorized element in the parade? See, I ain't just talking foolishness. Most of it is, but is there not a protocol? Right? Like, is there not a provision that says, hey, all pieces need to be transportable, but they cannot be mechanized? Y'all allow these things to be mechanized? And even if you do, where does a car fit into that? How many points they get penalized for that? And how did you penalize them by taking the points you take from them and give them to the prodigal sons? Because I try to figure out how the prodigal sons get points. Anyway, I'm gonna hold some of this for if Mr. Nuri let me on his show today to row. I may hold some of that for them.
Let it go now.
I deeply concerned, Mr. Mitchell. I deeply concerned.
Yeah,
Let me tell
but
you why.
You open up and then you can leave the people hanging. I'm hanging.
I got you.
Was the
Christmas
car
night.
dressed?
It was well dressed.
It was. It had
It didn't have any crepe paper on it. It didn't have any costume on it. It didn't have any boxing on it. It was well dressed. It had a beautiful paint job on it, right? And it was well put together because their theme was Jamaica.
But it was an actual car.
It was an actual car with an actual DJ and actual speakers. You see what I'm saying? Like, I am all for innovation in Junction. In fact, let me acknowledge that when I say Saxons look like carnival, that what we are seeing are Junkanus attempting to innovate Junkanu, right? But I think the problem is, if you are not firmly rooted in the core or the origin of the art form you are practicing and naturally evolving, then the thing could spin out of control. I'm all for innovation. Why couldn't y'all construct
a car.
a car
I've seen it done before.
and push it? It gets better. Why y'all couldn't go to BTVI and incentivize some young minds and some older minds into producing a wooden, cardboard, styrofoam car to push out onto Bay? And we would have given you points if you constructed a mechanism that propelled it forward without an actual engine. See, it's hard to have these conversations. First of all, y'all take every critique as hostility. And I understand why, because in some of our households, attempting to engage our parents critically was seen as a sign of betrayal. How dare you talk back to me? So we respond sometimes to critique with hostility. But if Junkanoo is authentically and firmly rooted in its origin, then we would innovate within a particular framework.
We have that framework.
But we don't make car here. See, if we were in Detroit, we don't even make car here. We don't even break car down properly here.
What was the reason for the car?
Well, I imagine the theme was Taste of Jamaica. Like, Jamaica was the theme. And they were bringing to Bay Street that there's a particular element of party. They party in the car, driving around the place, and the music blasting, right? And there's an element of dance hall culture, at least from our perspective as Bahamians.
Isn't a runoff on this new flight that we're doing with Bahamas here to Jamaica, trying to promote that or something?
If it had been,
because I see an ad and we're flying, and then all of a sudden there's a guy playing guitar in a Rasta outfit, and then they say to Montego Bay. I don't know if that's the takeoff on it.
But wouldn't it have been nice? Wouldn't it have been got that sponsorship, and that is what they brought? Like, You actually saw the car change from Bahamian colors to Jamaican colors as they flip the cardboard pieces and fold them about. See, like if you want something on bay that is motorized, you're supposed to make it using cardboard and string and gears. You make things, you pop them in the air, and then they look like they fly in until they drop back down to the ground, and then you set them up again.
Wow.
What I'm saying is that the whole discussion is about whether those who claim that they are the stewards and owners of the Bay Street and Bay Street Boxing Day and New Year's Day parades understand or even consider the impact that those two parades have on the broader festival season, the broader practice of Junkanoo, and a collective commitment to preserving Junkanoo for the purpose of protecting it. See, we preserve it not just to protect it, but then to allow you all to innovate. By tethering it at the root, it allows you to fly no tether.
Yeah, JCNP should have stopped the parade. The police should have stopped them and said that can't go.
Right. Like why?
We even penalizing you. That can't go. Put
just
that
move
to the
it through.
side. Yeah.
And so my concern is that not that the people Junkanooing are absolutely consumed by their art craft. That's not my concern. My concern is that those that understand that you are living it, you are in it, and that someone must stand on the guardrails to preserve, to protect, to ensure that while you Junkanooing and feeling the beat of the drum, that there is a protection mechanism to protect the overall experience and practice of Junkanoo.
Because there'll come a time when anybody could do it.
Absolutely.
And that we don't want. And I've seen it over the years drifting towards this very same point that you're making, and
So
the glitter. And we used to allow the Trinidadians one time in the 60s or 70s to come out on New Year's Day with feathers and their little tap and say thank you for being in our country, and you all could take a little part. But this glitter and even the music and now it's sax and brass and all that, it ain't Junkanoo. And we get the older people getting tired of this try at innovation and they don't stay within the bounds of the rules.
the core of the experience.
The core of the experience.
So, to my surprise, I had to take a step back from Junkanoo. When I say that, I didn't go out to the parades. I watched ZNS's coverage, bits and pieces. I didn't go out. I said I was going to go out and hunt leftover pieces. But I saw a snippet, and I swear I saw daylight. I swear I saw a group rushing in daylight. And I also swear you all told me that the intention, the purpose of starting at 9 p.m. was so that the parade would be finished daylight.
That's impossible.
Well, no, it is possible. It is not possible with the boundary, with the scope of what exists today.
You're talking about 70 minutes to get from there to East Street.
Right.
You can't do that.
Let's
just
talk.
Count the time.
Let's talk about it, though.
Yeah.
If we...
Because Junkanoo is not a daytime thing.
Right. If we root firmly the core, which is Junkanoo is not a daytime thing.
Yeah.
Right? If we understand that Junkanoo is a spiritual practice, if we understand that it's offensive to say that you must curtail Junkanoo to be able to continue with your Christian practice, like you have to understand that there's a space where the indigenous practice of spiritual and cultural practice of Africans bucks up to the Christian practice, right? So how is it that y'all are comfortable with having a parade in the daytime that is not intended to be a daytime parade? So you say you're going to start it at 9 p.m. Give more time for groups to move through Bay Street. You still were not able to accomplish that. But it can be accomplished. Because if we root the core, then we understand that the limitations are the route, right? And the amount of time it takes a certain amount of people to move through, if you can improve that. So the first thing you do is have groups to ensure that a group can move through a determined space in a determined amount of time. The groups themselves have to become disciplined and figure out how they are going to speed up their performance. Because the one thing you can't change is time. And if you could tell, see, it's why I tell the sun all kind of things when I wake up in the morning, but to get the sun to listen to you. So what do? You create rules that understand the most important elements of the parade, of the culture, of the festival itself, which is, it's a nighttime festival. How do we manage groups to enable the efficient movement of performance through the route in the given time? That's it. That's the hard work of being an adult in your country. If it's a nighttime festival, then we have to manage ourselves and our resources to complete the parade while the sun is in bed. I think it's blasphemy that the parade is Erin. When Bernard Greene used to go to Junkanoo, he used to put us on the side porch and say, children who can't stay awake can't go to Junkanoo. That's what influenced my perspective on it. Some of us relented, but you still couldn't finish the festival before the sun came up. So what do we do? Right? Here's the next thing. Okay, so I got a text that it says, in all fairness, the car did not have an engine, it was pushed. Okay.
Thanks for that.
What about the speakers? What about tinned sound, canned sound? Were they penalized for music because they had the speakers? Right? What do the rules say? I know y'all gonna say go to the JCNP website. I could be honest with you. It lists results on the main page, and then you need a password to go beyond that. So I still don't know the rules. There you go. That's where y'all told me to go find it. Another text said the car had no engine. It could only be pushed like other banners. So the car is a banner.
No, he didn't say that.
I said like, but he said, I know they said like other banners. I know the text is not saying that it is definitely a banner, but it appears as if, I can say it out loud. Good morning, Miss Greene. They are going too far, and there's no guidelines to say what is Junkanoo or this is Carnival. It's definitely not Junkanoo.
There are 100 things wrong with this Junkanoo today.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't do something quickly, we're going to even lose spectators, especially on TV.
Mm-hmm.
You see the amount of people that get in the front of groups and do all kind of up and down and cross and things, and they have to actually ask people or have someone up front telling them to move out of the way because they know they're blocking. I saw at home watching, and it's ridiculous. I heard the minister say that he don't think that it would go to a stadium. I wanted to go to a stadium. I want to buy a ticket. I want to park in a parking lot and don't worry about my car getting broken into. I want to walk in with that ticket, take a seat, and watch this parade go by me, each one after the other without delay. And not a bunch of people, photographers. Well, I was one. I didn't try to get in the way. But there's spaces in a stadium you sign to if you're from a newspaper or from a blog or whatever. And the people on TV and the people in the stadium, you don't get in their way. But this nonsense about something to do with our ancestors on Bay Street, we should be running from that and what they did to us on Bay Street.
Well, see,
Don't get me started on Junkanoo.
No,
I ain't come to talk it, but I have some strong opinions on it.
The parade that they want to have is better suited in a stadium. I appreciate the need, like when the public access roads to beach and things like that,
Yeah.
they're open 364 days a year. And then they have to close it one day a year to show ownership, right? That's how I feel about Bay. Y'all could do what you want on Bay for 363 days a year. But when Boxing Day and New Year's Day come, know that the ancestors going to take back Bay. I was about to say the carnival they want. The Junkanoo parades that they want are better suited for a stadium. I don't have a problem with that. The question is, do then the Junkanoos understand the need to innovate, to figure out how you're going to produce the same experience for the spectator in terms of sound?
I've been to Junkanoo out of this country on streets that are wider than Bay Street and in different places and in a stadium, and the sound isn't affected by it as people seem to think. I have videos that I did of Junkanoo in a stadium, and it's not affected.
Absolutely. And I for that. And see, here's my thing. Like I say, if that's what you want to do, then do it effectively. In another example, do the big Boxing Day, New Year's parades at the stadium. Then let us figure out how to produce a parade closer to the core.
Well, I haven't finished yet.
Yes, sir.
You're Valley, you're Saxon, you come from different areas, your roots. You can rush to the stadium with all your hangers on and everybody who even
The
ain't got on
spectators,
nothing.
yeah.
The people on the side of the road coming down Wolf Road, Nassau Street, they got their little things selling and making some money. But when you hit the stadium gate door, all the sideliners, all the, what you call them?
Spectators.
But there's also some guidance by some, what they call them in Junkanoo?
The marshals.
The marshals
Yeah.
for the group. All of them get on the side, and only the group comes through there, goes across the stage where the people on either side, because you're going around, can see it just as good. You charge for a ticket. There are vendors inside the stadium that sell stuff too. And when you have a lull, it's also everybody then gets a time to play a part in Junkanoo.
I'm thinking if we want to be like a Trinidad carnival,
Or a
and
Macy Day Parade.
right? And I know people are saying we don't want to be you deep in your heart. What you cannot articulate is being articulated through the craft. Even if you can't say you want to be like Trinidad, your hands, your work is showing us that you want to be like Trinidad.
You know what Junkanoo is? It's a beat. There's a whistle. There's a call. There's a response that they've lost altogether that Junkanoo used to do. And you hear da-da-da-da-da, and then you hear an answer, and then you hear the drum. This brass thing, which I love.
It sounds great. It sounds beautiful.
But I don't want all of that in
Right.
Junkanoo.
Now, just what you said, imagine this now. We celebrated the life and legacy of Peanuts Taylor. We
Yeah.
played the clip on the Congo drum. And what my uncle telling me is when Bernard Greene dropped me on the porch and I couldn't come on the bay, I may have been able to hear,
Him or Chippy.
but the call and the response.
Yeah.
Now, imagine now that what Peanuts did was taught. So you don't need the brass
Give me Junkanoo.
to recreate that vibe. You have a call and a response from the drums themselves.
But you know, I used to come when I was getting a little bit older. I would tell my wife, I ain't going to Junkanoo this year. But I would lay in my bed, and around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I would hear the Fox Hill Congos or somebody, just drums. and my foot would start to twitch, and my body, and she said, what happened? I said, going to Junkanoo. I need no brass to take me to Junkanoo. And we got to now calm down and come back down. I like the new innovations with the things they play with, those looks like...
the cowbells,
multi thing and all that.
Yeah.
That's innovative. That's a nice sound. But we got to protect the culture, like you say.
Right, and if we allow a space for critical interrogation of what's happening, because then everybody would say, but look here, we could do both, which we can. We can have parades that allow practitioners to innovate, and we can have parades that have a strict commitment to protecting the core, right? And then, here's the more important things. How do we see the spectator as a part of the Junkanoo experience? Because you know what I heard about all day yesterday? About the boy who was in the tree on Shirley Street when the Saxons was coming and he almost shake the tree down. When Bay and Johnson Road is talking about how this boy was on the tree, and the joy. See, because men have very strict rules about how they're allowed to experience joy. Because otherwise, then you sassy, apparently, if you're a man who could experience joy.
What?
But that's what these young people saying. But this boy and the tree, and there's a tradition, right? And do we understand the traditions that Bahamians have carved for themselves around the Junkanoo experience?
Yes.
Without your input. See, because you all, just like everything else, just like the children, you all leave us to figure it out on our own. And Bahamians, in their ingenuity, they carve out the most amazing experience. Forget Bay Street. Shirley Street is the place to be if you want excitement. That's where you go. I tell you, and they wouldn't, Uncle Stanley, your nephew Brendan wouldn't even let me walk from Bay Street to the headquarters at night when it wasn't Junkanoo. That's how much they tell me I can't be a part of this nightlife, right? But so how do we incorporate the spectators who are also Junkanoos? If you be on Shirley Street, you see there's a difference. The people on Bay Street are spectators. The people on Shirley Street, they are Junkanoos too, right? And allowing this critical interrogation without hostility allows for more voices to be heard and to be seen. Now I will get to the next thing is, how the prodigal sons get to 84.87 points? How could
a group that didn't show up?
Right. See, because like I was saying, I saw this thing from our news. A couple groups didn't make it to Bay. Then I say, hold on, Erin, go check the news. People just make mistakes. I see a gentleman in a JCNP shirt. Those are nice uniforms, by the way. I see a P-shirt, talking to Vaughn Albury, I think it was, talking to ZNS. I was watching ZNS. His name was, I heard the name LaRoda being referenced. Mm-hmm. And I swear, this person said, prodigal sons didn't make it to Bay. Redland soldiers didn't make it to Bay. Congos didn't make it to Bay. He explained that the groups were expected to be at Bay at 9, right? That the groups were being released from the gate, B group, A group, B group, A group. If an A group is not at the gate to go, then the next A group would go. This is all the things I hear him say. I sure this boy say.
Not this boy, the gentleman.
Sorry, because he's wearing a very nice uniform. Yeah. The gentleman indicated to the reporter, prodigal sons didn't make it to Bay. Now tell me, if as some Junkanoos were telling me that they were late and thus they were penalized, why, when the gentleman was explaining that groups that are late would be penalized, didn't he say the prodigal sons are one of those groups? And if they get here on time before the end of the parade, we let them rush. Why y'all didn't say that? See, here's what my problem is, not with the prodigal sons. My problem is that in small island places, in small workplaces, you cannot avoid conflicts of interest. So you must have mechanisms to manage interests transparently, with accountability, and efficiently, right? Does the fact that the individuals that constitute the JCNP are representatives from the Junkanoo groups present a conflict of interest that needs to be managed? Because how could a JCNP member get on Cynthia Mother Pratt television and tell us the prodigal sons didn't make it to Bay, and then we wake up in the morning and see the prodigal sons have 38.87 points?
Wow.
The initial story I saw from our news said music makers didn't make it to Bay either. But when I got home and turned on ZNS, I saw music makers. See, I was prepared to wait. I didn't blast the news. I didn't rejoice at prodigal son's failure. That's not what's happening here. What's happening here is that we have to have the difficult conversations to protect and preserve the things that we say we value. That's it.
How is it that every year we have delays, we have lulls in the thing, and we get different excuses all the time, and there's no perfecting of it ever? Olympics I went to, and I thought Bahamian time that the race was starting at 9:03. So I go there with mine, get there at 9:06 or something, and the race is gone. This way back and before that. And when you hear in an athletic competition that the time is the time, everything is timed from the call room, from they call the athletes to be out on the track, to be ready for the race. It's all calculated down to the second, because the people on the do pay for the TV rights for the games are broadcasting all around the world, and everybody's dependent on that time, and time is money, and they have to be there at 9. The race, the gun goes at 9:03 or whatever the time is. We're still this little island thing, which is part of Junkanoo too. You don't want to take delays away, but come on, nobody's decided to put something in between except another group that might not even have come down because they're number 6, and they don't have to be there till 4 o'clock in the morning. But now 2 groups don't come, and you want me to come at 2? On there anyhow, just milling around. Somebody got to take this organization over of this thing and really do it professionally and stop just taking anybody to run it. And I mean all of y'all.
Let me go to the phone line, and when we're done with the callers, I can tell you about this boy I know, John Tafer. He's bar rescue you. We can Junkanoo rescue this place. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, I love the way he's speaking this morning. I honestly think Junkanoo needs to be off Bay Street for a reason of conveniency and parking. It's a hassle to go on Bay Street not knowing where to park, where it is safe. That foolishness needs to be thing of the past now. And again, when it comes to the JCN, right? What's the use of them other than for just rules and regulation? Isn't there rules and regulation should fit in when it comes to the group and all this lap and waiting so long and this one come out not showing? Why can't they get this right? Every year the same thing where you have to be waiting for near an hour for the next group to show.
Mm-hmm.
This can't be. We got to find some,
to fix it up.
This.
Yeah.
The same thing. Find a way to fix it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it gonna get fixed. My uncle reminded me this morning walking in here, but you could row all you want, but we collectively have to fix Junkanoo. And what you're saying, ma'am, look here. If, first of all, these boys them in the JCNP, I just want to put them to work somewhere else. Because if they could extract $35 million from this economy every year to host them 2 parade, then they have skill sets that need to be utilized in other ways, potentially. I can go to this call, and after this call, I can ask if y'all could extract $35 million.
What $35 million are you talking about?
Listen, Mr. Ferguson, former JCNP chairman, quoted a figure, suggested that, or stated that it takes approximately $35 million to host the Boxing Day Parade and the New Year's Day Parade in one season, right? The one run. And if that's the case, I appreciate the issue about parking, but surely the JCNP understood that as a part of the Junkanoo Parade experience, that they should delineate parking areas, create maps, publish them online, everywhere, post them up for people coming into town so they could see clearly where they could park to go to Junkanoo.
They should have
That's
buses
a given.
in Foxhill, buses in South Beach and thing, bringing people into Junkanoo, putting them down right there. They're running back forward.
Let me go to the caller. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Mr. Mitchell.
Morning.
Morning. Erin, listen, I am happy that the rule was altered when Prodigal Son and music makers did not show up on time.
You were happy that it was altered to allow them to come to rush if they came late?
Yes.
You can give me my $30,000? Give
yes.
me my $30,000 now, sir.
No, Erin, listen. Remember now, remember when it came to the way forward, they were saying what the rules said, you must come as a fun group. And they keep using the same yardstick that they use for Genesis, okay, to measure the way forward. Whereby the way forward obviously came out as a competing or competitive group.
Were they judged? If they weren't judged, they weren't a competitive group.
They had the numbers, the qualification, and the members to qualify to compete. There was not an experiment like Genesis. See? So they should have actually been allowed. That's why the rules, there must be amendment to the rules that they have.
Okay, I see what you're saying. You're talking about the fun group rule.
An independent
body
to manage a national event, there should also be a committee of independent committee when it comes to WAC, obviously, to review the situation and to make a determination.
Yes.
Okay, when independent group of the manage a national event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I got you, sir.
I thought the way forward they would qualify to because of the 3-hour wait that Protocol didn't come and music maker, there was a 3-hour lapse, and people did not purchase tickets to be waiting for 3 hours for entertainment.
It was a 3-hour lapse?
She never come to pay again unless they come with the fun group.
I got you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, cousin. So you don't have $30,000. Somebody though should I want to see the. Here's what I'm saying. If you know that the prodigal sons have had a difficulty making it to Bay over the last decade, rendering some of us or leaving some of us with the belief that they only make it 3.5 times out of 11 years, right? At what point does the JCNP say we need to figure out how to support this group to grow its capacity so it could meet the requirements of being in an A group, or they are relegated to a B group, the B division, and a B group is pushed up to the A group? Are the music makers and prodigal sons not friends? Have they not figured out that perhaps for a real show an amalgamation?
No, you crossing lines now.
Okay.
You don't understand Junkanoo.
No, I understand that these are groups rooted in culture and historic experience. However, you're taking $30,000 and 3.5 years out of 11, you can't make it to Bay. Something has to change. For me, I would expect the JCNP that has the ability to extract $35 million from an economy in 1 year to be able to figure out mechanisms to support the Junkanoo groups that compose the JCNP.
I bet you $1 to 10 cents that most of the JCNP people have come out of Junkanoo.
That's exactly it. the board
That's
itself,
what's wrong with Junkanoo.
the conflict of interest is blaring at us, and we don't see the need to create mechanisms to manage them.
You need a management team. You don't need people coming out of Junkanoo. They think they own it. Like you're saying, I'm a spectator. I own it too. I want a good show. I pay.
I'm a Bahamian and I still own it.
Yeah.
It is still
mine.
Absolutely. And so the prodigal sons represent an issue. They provide us with an example that we can use to explore what is happening at the JCNP and how we could reform it to produce a more effective and efficient mechanism for the aim of ultimately preserving the cultural and historic practice of Junkanoo.
It goes deep. It goes right into the money. It goes that the fella who's in the shack doing all the work doesn't really get anything except his love of his craft and being a Junkanooer. But if it was money coming out of somebody's pocket, if you didn't show up and you didn't do that, then we wouldn't have that foolishness. But this whole thing needs to be revamped. It's like next. It's like a politician want to run in my area who ain't never do nothing in the country, never led anything, but I must vote for him because he's with this party. But when the party gets elected, he's shut down, shut out because he ain't got nothing to offer, never brings a bill to the house, don't know how to bring a bill to the house. But I must vote for him. We need to get professional people into these things who know, are proven that they know how to run things, and go from there. I remember when they had some bears, a BEAR, on trying to make up the difference in the lull in the competition, just putting on a private act and people laughing, and it took away the time. But you have to think that way, and those people back in the day had ability to think, but they do it so right. We don't want them. We want this. We want to take it over. Sure, you could take it over. The government should have a test to see if you know what you could do.
Yeah.
Or something before you get on the JCNP. How you get on the JCNP? I was to be in Junkanoo with Roots, and I rushed for 10 years, and I tell them I can't be a judge. I'm a Saxon. If it's close, Saxon win.
Yeah.
You ain't even got to ask me that. So don't ask me to be no judge, but I honest about it.
Yeah, and that's all that we could ask for.
I can make up 10 points.
That's all we could ask for.
And I shouldn't be in it.
Something has to be done, right? We appreciate, and here's why the conversation is even more important. Because standing on the outside, you can appreciate the amount of effort that people put. You understand that it's important to them. But then we must just sit back.
And let anything happen and say, next year.
If $35 million is an accurate figure, and if the Junkanoo community and the JCNP is pulling $35 million out of the economy every year to host those two parades, then this conversation is everybody's business. Because you telling me in 3 years we could have amassed $105 million?
Yeah, give it to sailing and let them have a relay from Bimini down to Inagua, Meguana.
Am I good, Uncle? He just talking sports. Imagine all the things I could talk. Anyway, we're going to a quick break. When we get back from the break, we got to touch on something in sports as well. Oh, yeah, and the Dolphins beat the 49ers last week. We might as well call it our Super Bowl. We're very happy, you guys. You're on the clock with Erin Greene. We'll be right back, so stay tuned to 96.9 FM.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located at the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
End of the day, Lumpkin, the customers love the red suit. You think you can heist them pounds something a little more? We need to see more socks. But before you go, look at, I got some specials going on for the sale. I got 2 sets of 12 by 12 and 4 sets of 18 by 18 tiles. Now the 12 by 12 Al Blanco is just that, Al Blanco. That in the peach and gray Alcala, going for $2.15 a square foot. Now I got 3 18 by 18 flagstone style and a high gloss gray and beige tile for $2.03 a square foot. But what you doing, Lumpkin? I'm looking for one pen. Sale ends December 21st.
The Grand Bahama News is available every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian. You can buy your local paper at Freeport convenience stores, Western Bakery, DeGregory's Fine Foods, and Bellevue Gifts. Now is the time to reach your Grand Bahama market with affordable packages, including print and digital. Call GB News sales representative Kavandre at 822-6717 or message him on WhatsApp for ad rates. Classified ads are now available every Tuesday as well. Keep up with everything Grand Bahamian every Tuesday in the Nassau Guardian.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Good morning and welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene. Now, I did ask Mr. Mitchell to come in. We were going to talk sports until I see the car. And when I saw the car, it was all over. And so I just want you to know that we have, tune in, you got to pick up a copy of The Guardian, go online and go to the sports section. The Guardian has already released its Junior Female Athlete of the Year and Junior Male Athlete of the Year. The Tribune has also
Guardian also has senior athlete
today in today's paper and senior female athlete of the year, Jonquel Jones. For junior female athlete of the year, Taisha Stubbs, javelin. For the boys, it's VJ. VJ was spectacular, Olympian. Coming in after VJ's pole vault. Really, really great performance. Finishing third is Kriston Joseph with 49 points. He actually had a stellar aquatic season this year. Absolutely stellar. And top 5 and top 4, Michael Major Jr. and Carlos Brown Jr. respectively. Michael is a tennis player. Carlos is an athletic star. He tied the Bahamas junior national record in the boys 100 meter this year, running 10.30.
Were those names juniors?
Yeah, those were all the juniors.
No, I mean of their father.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Michael Majors Jr., Carlos Brown Jr., yeah.
You know what that means?
Legacy?
A family is behind those athletes.
Supporting them, funding them.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Yeah. And of course, Jonquel Jones gets Senior Female Athlete of the Year. I can get into that list a little later. Mr. Mitchell.
I won't argue that, but anyhow.
Who you think it should have been?
Devon Charlton.
I feel you.
World record.
Yeah.
Against the world. This girl playing in some American thing.
Right. While she's playing in other leagues.
Was on her chest. Don't give me that.
We're going to have to talk about this next week. There's a great discussion, right? That's Jonquel versus Devon. We're not denigrating either of them. We're getting into the meat of it. Because when you said Devon, I was like, you know what? Yeah.
And she did it.
Yeah. She did. Now, tell us what we can talk about the next time you come. Let's get into that just for a moment.
No, you were asking me about the NACAC situation in the building on Thompson Boulevard, and I'm conflicted because my prime minister promised the building to the World Athletics people, to NACAC, through Mr. Mike Sands, who's the president, and now there's been changes and no one knows what's happening. It's been locked, and nobody can tell us what's happening with the building and why it's locked and why the work isn't being continued. And it's becoming an embarrassment because World Athletics is asking Mr. Sands, when are you going in this
when
building?
You can open the building, we can start working.
The Prime Minister promised in the presence of the President Sebastian Coe that you would have it.
Absolutely.
And it's just crazy how things just can happen like that, and nobody can answer. I call the job and he says, I can't come in. And then you hear rumors that the minister and his permanent secretary and others are gonna take the building and do something else.
Like work in it? Like that?
Make it present it as something else and Mike can go away. Like the president of 36, 38 countries who come here to meet and expect to have an office like that to meet in and have functions in, and was promised, just can disappear and nobody knows. This is a strange country I live in.
We have to continue the conversation because, both the Junkanoo conversation I'm having about the JCNP and that conversation, they sit with each other.
Yeah.
We have all of this talent, right? And we have all of this talk about the talent and the country.
What we punch a bunch above our weight and all kind of
But we
foolishness.
refuse to acknowledge the hard work of creating the ecosystem in which these things could happen, right? We can't all be partying. You see, I blame the Ministry of Tourism. The Ministry of Tourism say, it's better in the Bahamas. Well, we invited all of these people. We're supposed to be at the gate, right? Ushering the cars in, leading the people through the entrance, running the concession, sitting in the lighting booth, working the sound, ushering the people to their seats. And when you get inside the theater, the whole front of the theater is packed up with Bahamians who waiting for a show to start that they supposed to be putting on.
Yep.
If Junkanoo is the greatest show on earth, then tell me, what are you doing to make sure that it is the greatest show on earth? You know what I did? I made sure the spirits stayed home so we didn't embarrass none of y'all on Boxing Day, because we are the greatest in the history of Junkanoo white people in the whole world, except for the pigs and the Methuselahs. You guys have a great day. Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri is up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.